How to recognize two-headed snakes. Here are 8 red flags you need to look out for in a friendship. If found any, walk away right now. This video might sting a little, but it's an important one. Also, self-reflect. You don't want to be the one wearing the veil. In an old video, we talked about fair-weather friends or those spying on you from behind a veil of friendship. But this is deeper. Let's just start the video. Before that, I must thank you guys for what you do for this tribe. This likes and comments are lifeblood for this channel. Much appreciated. Now you can write on our community, and to become a member of the Den, you can join this tribe. Thanks. Sign number 1. They're just here to compete. You've noticed how he turns your victory into his contest, as if your rise threatens his worth. Have you asked yourself why a friend would act like a rival under the guise of camaraderie? In the halls of ancient wisdom, Seneca warns that envy corrodes the soul from within. When you share good news, and he responds with a backhanded compliment or a subtle dismissal, you glimpse the first mark of a false ally. Genuine friend celebrates your wins as his own, stands with you in joy, not in the shadow of your light. Do you remember Aristotle's idea that friendship is built on mutual goodwill and shared virtue? When he greets you with sarcasm or shrugs off your achievement, he shows contempt for your strength, suggesting he values his pride more than your happiness. You deserve someone who offers a hand to lift you higher, not a foot to knock you down. Think of your spirit as a garden. True friends plant seeds of encouragement, while fake ones uproot blossoms to plant their own weeds. He digs at your confidence, leaving barren patches where trust once grew. You must tend to your inner soil, pulling out those toxic roots before they poison what you cherish. Aristotle distinguished between 2 types of envy: the pain at another's good fortune and the pleasure at another's misfortune. The fake friend experiences both, feeling diminished by your success while secretly hoping for your failure. They might offer congratulations, but the words feel hollow, delivered through gritted teeth rather than genuine joy. Ask yourself, when did he last celebrate you without hiding a barb? Your victories are yours alone. Let no one steal their shine. Sign number 2. The energy vampire. Do you ever wonder why certain people leave you feeling exhausted, even after pleasant conversations? Picture sharing exciting news, a promotion, a creative breakthrough. Instead of sharing your joy, they instantly pivot. That's nice. Reminds me of my terrible boss, or my failed project, or my constant stress, ... They just want to cry. The second mask reveals itself through the subtle theft of your vitality. The energy vampire appears friendly, even charming, but every interaction becomes a one-way extraction of your emotional resources. You walk away from conversations feeling depleted, confused about why a simple chat left you mentally fatigued. This isn't your imagination. It's psychological vampirism in action. Consider how a black hole consumes light, giving nothing back while growing stronger. These individuals operate similarly, absorbing your enthusiasm, optimism, and emotional energy, while contributing only negativity, complaints, or self-centered drama. They monopolize conversations, turning every topic back to their problems, their needs, their endless crises that somehow never resolve despite your repeated advice. Research in social psychology reveals that emotional contagion is real. We unconsciously mirror the emotions of those around us. The energy vampire exploits this natural human tendency, using your empathy as a feeding ground. They arrive heavy with problems and leave lighter, while you're left carrying the weight they've transferred. Notice how they never ask about your life with genuine interest, how they interrupt your stories to redirect attention back to themselves. Marcus Aurelius warned against those who disturb your peace without adding value to your existence. These guys create artificial urgency around their problems, making you feel obligated to solve issues they should handle themselves. You deserve relationships that energize rather than drain you. True friends create balance. They give as much as they take, leaving both parties feeling uplifted. When someone consistently takes more than they give, that's not friendship, That's exploitation disguised as connection. Sign number 3. The two-faced oracle. Have you ever learned that someone praised you to your face while criticizing you to others? The third mask is perhaps the most devastating when revealed. The two-faced friend maintains completely different personas depending on their audience, speaking sweet words to your face while poisoning others against you behind closed doors. They've mastered the art of duplicity, becoming skilled actors who'll deliver Oscar-worthy performances of loyalty while secretly undermining your reputation. Imagine a coin that shows heads when you look directly at it, but tails when observed from any other angle. These individuals craft their words carefully, never technically lying to you, but sharing selective truths and twisted interpretations. They might defend you publicly while privately sharing your secrets, or offer support while simultaneously planting seeds of doubt about your character in mutual friends' minds. You discover their betrayal through fragments, overheard conversations, changed dynamics in group settings, or friends who suddenly seem distant without explanation. The realization hits like cold water. You've been living in a carefully constructed illusion, while they've been conducting a shadow campaign against your reputation. The ancient concept of integrity comes from the Latin integer, meaning whole or complete. The two-faced friend lacks this wholeness, living in compartmentalized realities where truth becomes fluid, shaped by convenience rather than consistency. They violate one of friendship's most sacred principles, loyalty, by speaking from both sides of their mouth. Notice how they fish for information about your private life, then use these details as ammunition in conversations with others. They become collectors of your vulnerabilities, not to support you through difficult times, but to weaponize your struggles when it serves their purposes. Authentic friends maintain the same voice about you, whether you're present or absent, because their words reflect genuine feelings rather than strategic calculations. Sign number 4. The weather-vane friend. Have you ever felt like you're dealing with a different person each time you meet someone who calls you a friend? The first sign of a counterfeit companion is inconsistency. They respond to your messages within minutes when you're planning something fun, but take days to reply when you're struggling with personal crises. Their words, their presence, their enthusiasm, it all shifts like desert sands with the wind. One day, they're effusive with praise, promising unwavering support. The next, they're distant, their warmth replaced by a chilling indifference, often when you face a storm. This isn't mere forgetfulness. It's a fundamental misalignment between their declared affection and their unreliable actions. Consider the friend who enthusiastically pledges to help you move, only to vanish that Saturday with a flimsy last-minute excuse. This erratic behavior creates a subtle but profound confusion. Like a weather vane spinning wildly, they point in whatever direction serves their immediate mood or convenience, leaving you guessing where true north lies. Stoic Seneca, in his letters, spoke of friendship as a harbor, a place of steady refuge. A weather vane friend offers no such sanctuary. They are the choppy sea itself, unpredictable and unsettling. In the other videos on manipulation or strategies, we mentioned unpredictability, not inconsistency. Psychologically, this inconsistency triggers cognitive dissonance. You want to believe their promises, yet their actions scream otherwise. This gap breeds anxiety and self-doubt. Was it something I said? Am I asking too much? It forces you into a state of hypervigilance, constantly monitoring their mood, adjusting your expectations downward. It's exhausting. A study on relational uncertainty highlights how this unpredictability corrodes trust, the bedrock of any genuine bond. Why does this happen? Often, it stems from a core self-centeredness. Their commitment isn't to you or the friendship, it's to their own fleeting desires, comfort, or the appearance of connection without the substance. The Stoic response isn't rage, but clear-eyed discernment. Observe the pattern without illusion. Does their presence depend entirely on your current utility, or perceived status? Do their promises consistently dissolve like mist? Recognize this not as a failing in you, but as a reflection of their own fragmented character. True friendship, as the Stoics envisioned, is built on constantia, means steadfastness. It demands reliability, as naturally as a tree demands roots. When you see the weather vanes spinning, understand it reveals the landscape of their soul. Don't waste energy demanding constancy from the changeable. Anchor yourself instead in your own integrity and direct your trust toward shores proven steady. This isn't cynicism. It's the wisdom of investing your precious social capital wisely. The storm of their inconsistency cannot shake the mountain of your self-possession. They appear when you have something to offer, resources to share, happiness to bask in. But when you're struggling, when your bank account is empty, when your heart is broken, they suddenly have urgent appointments elsewhere. Notice how they avoid your calls during difficult times, how they become too busy when you need support. This isn't coincidence, it's calculation. Their friendship operates on a profit-loss basis, and your pain represents a deficit they refuse to absorb. Sign number 5. They twist your words into weapons. Have you ever whispered your truth, only to watch it return as a sharpened blade? You speak from the heart, yet he spins your words into gossip, turning allies against you. Does that betrayal sting like a serpent's tooth, leaving you questioning every syllable you utter? In the quiet halls of Stoic wisdom, Epictetus warns that our judgments shape our reality. When someone warps your intention to serve their agenda, they mine your voice for ammunition. He mines your trust, extracting fragments to forge conflict, while you stand accused of crimes never committed. Picture a reflection in shattered glass, each shard showing a distorted you. Psychologists identify this as verbal triangulation, a tactic where one friend manipulates communication to isolate you. A 2018 study by Jones and Ruggieri found that such tactics erode self-esteem and create social anxiety. He weaponizes your honesty, making you doubt your own clarity. Imagine a compass calibrated by another's deceit. You wander without direction. True friends guide you toward your true north, but false ones spin the needle to obscure the path. He sabotages your bearings, ensuring you stumble in the maze of his design. You must recalibrate your trust, aligning with those whose mirrors reflect you whole. Ask yourself, when did they last relay your words with accuracy? If that memory dissolves like mist, you've found the fifth flag of a counterfeit bond. In reclaiming your voice, share only with guardians of your truth, so your story remains yours alone. Sign number 6. The Master Manipulator. Have you ever made decisions that felt like your own, but later realized they served someone else's agenda? The sixth mask is the most sophisticated, worn by those who've perfected the art of invisible influence. The Master Manipulator shapes your thoughts and choices through subtle psychological techniques, making you believe you're acting independently, while they pull the strings from behind the curtain. They never demand outright control. Instead, they plant seeds of doubt, create artificial urgency, and frame choices to guide you toward their desired outcomes. Think of a skilled magician who directs your attention while performing sleight of hand. These individuals operate similarly, using emotional manipulation, guilt, and strategic information sharing to influence your decisions without your conscious awareness. They might say things like, "I just want what's best for you," while pushing their own agenda, or create scenarios where disagreeing with them feels selfish or ungrateful. Notice how they frame situations to make their preferences seem like the only reasonable choice, how they use your insecurities as pressure points to achieve compliance. They study your psychological patterns, like a chess master studies the board, identifying your vulnerabilities and exploiting them with surgical precision. They might withhold approval until you conform, or shower you with attention when you behave as they wish. Psychologist Robert Cialdini identified 6 principles of influence that manipulators exploit: reciprocity, commitment, social proof, authority, liking, and scarcity. The master manipulator weaponizes these natural human tendencies, making you feel obligated, pressured, or fearful of missing out. They create artificial deadlines, reference imaginary others who agree with them, or position themselves as experts in areas where you feel uncertain. True friends respect your autonomy and decision-making process. They offer advice without attachment to your final choice. They trust your judgment and support your decisions, even when they disagree. Sign number 7. The chameleon. Have you ever felt like you're friends with multiple different people who happen to share the same face? The seventh mask belongs to those who shift like sand and wind, never maintaining a consistent identity or loyalty pattern. The inconsistent chameleon adapts their personality, values, and allegiances based on immediate social advantages rather than authentic core beliefs. You never know which version of them you'll encounter: the supportive confidant, the distant acquaintance, or the hostile critic, because their behavior depends entirely on current circumstances and present company. Imagine trying to build a house on quicksand. Every foundation you lay shifts beneath the weight of expectation. These individuals operate without stable principles, morphing their opinions to match whoever holds the most social power in any given moment. They agree with you passionately in private conversations, then adopt completely opposite positions when speaking with your rivals, leaving you questioning whether you ever knew them at all. Notice how their stories change, depending on their audience, how they claim different backgrounds, experiences, or expertise to fit various social situations. The philosopher, Heraclitus, said that character is destiny, but the chameleon has no fixed character to speak of. They mistake shapelessness for adaptability, not understanding that true flexibility comes from having strong roots, not from having no roots at all. Their constant shape-shifting reveals an inner emptiness. Real friends maintain core consistency while growing and evolving. They might change their minds about specific issues, but their fundamental character remains recognizable. Sign number 8. The boundary crusher. Have you ever said no clearly, only to find someone treating it like a negotiation rather than a decision? The 8th mask belongs to those who view your boundaries as obstacles to overcome rather than limits to respect. The boundary crusher operates under the belief that their needs supersede your comfort, treating your no as an opening argument rather than a final verdict. They push, probe, and pressure until you either cave to their demands or exhaust yourself defending positions you shouldn't need to justify. Picture a river that refuses to acknowledge the banks meant to contain it, constantly eroding the soil until it floods everything in its path. These individuals function similarly, gradually wearing down your resistance through persistent pressure, guilt trips, and emotional manipulation. They might say things like "just this once" or "it's not a big deal," while completely dismissing the significance of your clearly stated limits. Notice how they reframe your boundaries as character flaws, calling you selfish, uptight, or unreasonable when you maintain your standards. They create elaborate justifications for why their situation is special, why normal rules shouldn't apply, why you should make an exception just for them. They weaponize your empathy, using emotional appeals and manufactured crises to make you feel guilty for protecting your own well-being. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability reveals that boundaries are actually acts of compassion. They define what acceptable behavior looks like in relationships. The boundary crusher rejects this wisdom, viewing your limits as personal attacks on their freedom rather than necessary frameworks for healthy interaction. They mistake boundary setting for control when it's actually self-preservation. True friends respect your limits without requiring lengthy explanations. They understand that no is a complete sentence that doesn't need justification. They recognize that honoring boundaries creates safety and trust, while violating them destroys the foundation of authentic connection. You have the right to define your own limits without apology or explanation. So every relationship is friendship, and every friendship has its own name and place. These signs might be useful to identify the depth of the friendship and how much you need to share. Time, effort, or affection. Nothing is stronger than a bond of family. If you think about it, friendship is just about spending a good time. Here's a harsh word. People will use you, and you will use people. That's the rule. Neither is there anything wrong with that, nor is the video worthless. Just knowing these sets your bar high and you don't get manipulated. Thanks for watching.